Welcome to the debate. Imagine standing in the center of an ancient Roman theater, right? Like the one carved into the hills of Plovdiv, Bulgaria.
Oh yeah, it's a stunning location.
It really is. When you're down there on the floor, surrounded by those massive, weathered stones, you could almost feel the weight of centuries just pressing down on you. It is an architectural marvel, built for honor, built for these public trials of virtue. The space itself just demands a certain reverence and discipline from anyone who steps into it.
Right, but we also have to remember history accurately here. Those exact same stones were historically soaked in the blood of gladiators.
Sure, yeah.
It was an arena built not just for abstract concepts of honor, but for, extreme, visceral public spectacle. The crowds in antiquity demanded physical sacrifice, and the promoters of the day were all too happy to supply that attrition for pure entertainment.
Exactly. And that underlying tension is why we are exploring Senshi 31 Gladiators today.
Right.
Because Senshi is a captivating martial arts event that genuinely transcends traditional combat sports. It blends elements of discipline, skill, and cultural appreciation. Rooted in the ethos of respect and honor, Senshi showcases elite fighters from various disciplines, including karate, kickboxing, Muay Thai, and mixed martial arts.
And it's all held in these prestigious arenas, right?
Exactly. Each Senshi event delivers this electrifying atmosphere as athletes demonstrate their prowess and dedication in the ring. But it forces us to ask a central question. Is Senshi primarily a celebration and preservation of traditional martial arts ethos, or is it fundamentally a grueling, modern combat spectacle optimized for commercial entertainment and global broadcast?
And this whole discussion emerges directly from the introductory broadcast of Senshi 31 Gladiators. That source material explicitly lays out the event's really demanding tournament format, its massive broadcast reach, and of course, its governance by a board of revered combat sports legends.
Right. So my position is that Senshi represents the ultimate preservation of traditional martial arts ethos in the modern era. It's overseen by true legends of the disciplines to ensure that honor and respect remain paramount.
And I argue that, despite its traditional aesthetics, Senshi's brutal one-night tournament format and its extensive commercial broadcast network reveal it to be, a high-stakes, modern entertainment spectacle focused heavily on physical attrition.
Well, I think to really understand what Senshi's trying to achieve, we have to look at who is actually guarding the gates here.
Okay, who's guarding the gates?
Well, what separates this from typical prize fighting is the incredible pedigree of the KW Senshi board members. They're introduced right at the start of the broadcast. We are talking about figures like Shihan Semishilt, a four-time K1 champion.
Absolute legend, yeah.
Right. We have Tariel Nikolaevishvili, an absolute Kyokushin world champion, and Shihan Nicholas Peras, the last Uchideshi, or live-in student of Masatatsu Oyama, the founder of Kyokushin Karate. By placing such revered, historically significant figures in charge and hosting the event in this prestigious venue, fighters are expected to act bravely, firmly, and honorably.
Sure, the broadcast says that.
Because it transcends a mere fight, It genuinely prioritizes the spiritual and disciplined roots of martial arts over just punching someone in the face.
Look, the pedigree of those men is undeniable, I'll give you that. But I look at how they are actually being utilized.
How so?
We have to look past the ceremonial introductions and examine the mechanics of the event they are presiding over. The core attraction of Senshi 31 is the lightweight Grand Prix tournament. And for anyone not deeply entrenched in combat sports, we really need to clarify what a one-night Grand Prix actually entails.
It's grueling.
It's beyond grueling. This isn't just one fight where you prepare for months, execute a game plan, and go home to recover. This format requires a fighter to survive a quarterfinal, a semifinal, and a grand finale, all in a single night.
Which is just an incredible display of resilience.
It is, but the physical toll of that is staggering. We are talking about compound injuries, massive lactic acid buildup, and severe concussive trauma accumulating over the course of a few hours.
That's the sport.
But furthermore, the event is explicitly named Gladiators, And the broadcast openly discusses the inclusion of reserve matches, which are specifically scheduled in case of, quote, accidental injuries.
Right.
When you combine that expectation of severe bodily damage with a massive commercial broadcast network, including Triller TV, Pro Arena, and Max Sport 1, and back it with luxury corporate sponsors like BMW and Rolls-Royce, you are looking at a structure designed to maximize viewer entertainment through extreme physical attrition.
I think you're being overly cynical.
I'm just looking at the facts. It is a modern commercial product wearing the mask of a traditional exhibition.
See, you characterize their traditional presentation as a mask, but I view the involvement of those legends as the structural integrity of the event itself. You know, you have Sensei Zahari Damianov, Sensei Yana Ruko, and Sensei Martino, bringing in vast hands-on experience across Kyokushin, K1, and Muay Thai.
Yeah, they have the experience.
And we need to remember what Kyokushin actually is. It's not Olympic point fighting where you just tag someone and the referee stops the clock. It is full contact karate where you are absorbing devastating body blows. So I look at this board like a rigorous academic peer review panel, but one that operates in real time under stadium lights.
Wait, a peer review panel? Come on.
Yes, exactly. I know you like to view everything through a cynical corporate lens, but hear me out. In science, a peer review panel ensures that the methodology of a study is sound and ethical before it reaches the public, right?
Sure, in a quiet academic setting.
Well, at Senshi, these legends ensure that the fighters in the ring adhere to the highest technical and ethical standards. If a fighter is relying on dirty tactics, or if the bout is devolving into a wild, undisciplined brawl, these legends are the ones ensuring the methodology of the martial art is kept pure.
I mean,
their presence guarantees that this doesn't devolve into mere street fighting. They are active guardians of a standard.
I have to push back hard on that analogy, because the context of where this peer review happens changes its nature entirely. An academic peer review panel works behind closed doors to validate truth, completely independent of public opinion.
But the principle is the same.
It's really not. The legends at Senshi are placed front and center under stage lights. They're acting as masters of ceremonies and hosts for an event heavily marketed across multiple networks, like Botsat's BG and Bulgaria On Air.
Which brings the martial arts to a wider audience.
But Shihan Nicholas Pettis isn't just quietly observing technique from the shadows. He is literally the head of the PR and marketing committee, addressing a cheering crowd and a global live stream.
But doesn't marketing the tradition help preserve it? How else does it survive?
It monetizes it. Are they guardians of tradition? Maybe in their heart, sure. But functionally, their legendary status is being utilized as premium branding.
Premium branding? Really?
Yes. In the combat sports market, legitimacy is currency. By putting the most respected names in Kyokushin and K1 on the broadcast, the promoters are leveraging that legacy to sell a highly violent product to a modern audience. It provides a veneer of ancient nobility to what is, at its core, a monetized spectacle.
Calling it a veneer suggests the nobility is somehow fabricated for the cameras. It's not. The nobility in martial arts isn't about looking pristine. It is forged through extreme physical adversity.
Oh, there is plenty of physical adversity. I agree with you there.
And that brings us directly to your critique of the Grand Prix format itself. You outline the mechanics of it, the quarterfinals, the semifinals, the finale, all in one night. And you framed this as gladiatorial attrition designed purely for audience entertainment.
Because it is.
But I think we need to dive into the philosophy of exhaustion in traditional martial arts.
Okay, go on.
In traditional practice, pushing the human body beyond its perceived physical limits is the ultimate test of spirit. Let's look closely at Tariel Nikolashvili on their board. In 2014, he completed the 100-man Kume.
Which is just an insane physical feat.
Unbelievable. For those unfamiliar, that is 100 consecutive full-contact fights against fresh, rested black belt opponents. It lasts over 3 hours. By fight number 30 or 40, a martial artist's technique is completely compromised.
Right, your body just gives out.
Your muscles are failing, you have nothing left physically. And the traditional belief is that only when the physical body fails does the true spirit reveal itself. The Senchi One-Night Grand Prix is simply a modern, televised equivalent to these traditional endurance tests.
You really think it's the exact same thing?
It is the same ethos. It isn't trying to monetize damage. It's testing indomitable spirit, mental discipline, and resilience. Those are the true markers of a martial artist.
Look, I understand the philosophy of exhaustion, and Tariel's achievement is superhuman. But we have to look at the mechanism of how that philosophy is being deployed here.
It's deployed in the ring.
The 100-man kumite is a deeply personal, spiritual ritual. It happens in a dojo. It is a rite of passage primarily for the practitioner and their peers. The Century Grand Prix is a televised combat tournament with a massive production budget.
So, it's just a bigger stage.
The broadcast explicitly announces that the Gala Fight Night will host 2 tournament reserve matches, quote, in case of accidental injuries, so that they can replace fighters in the actual Grand Prix.
Which is just a practical necessity of the format. You have to have a backup.
But think about what that means structurally. They are anticipating that these athletes will be so severely damaged in the quarterfinals or semifinals, whether from shattered orbital bones, torn ligaments, or concussions, that they will be medically incapable of continuing.
That's the reality of a combat sport.
They literally have men waiting in the wings just to keep the broadcast moving when the inevitable trauma occurs. When a spiritual test of endurance is repackaged so that the physical destruction of the athletes is scheduled, expected, and necessary for the climax of a television broadcast, it ceases to be a traditional test of spirit.
I completely disagree.
It fulfills the gladiator moniker perfectly. It becomes about surviving a physical meat grinder for the roar of the crowd, not personal enlightenment.
I see the leap you are making, but having reserve fighters isn't about bloodlust or exploiting trauma. It is about competitive integrity.
Competitive integrity?
Yes, if a fighter suffers a completely accidental injury, say a clash of shins that opens a deep cut, the tournament structure has to survive so that a true champion can be crowned fairly at the end of the night. It is a logistical reality of the sport, not some moral failing of the promoters.
A logistical reality that just happens to make for incredibly dramatic television.
Television is just the medium. We cannot ignore the profound cultural appreciation happening inside that ring, regardless of the cameras. Senshi 31 gathers fighters from 14 different countries.
It's a big roster.
It's huge. The broadcast specifically highlights elite athletes flying in from Japan, from Brazil, and for the first time, from China. And they are bringing together varying disciplines, karate, kickboxing, Muay Thai, mixed martial arts, into one unified rule set.
Yeah, it's a very diverse lineup.
Exactly. When you place these diverse, global athletes in an ancient Roman theater, overseen by Japanese, European, and South American legends, you are witnessing a pure, respectful exchange of global martial arts knowledge. It is an Olympic-level celebration of what the human body and spirit can achieve across different cultures.
Okay, I have to admit, seeing athletes from 14 different countries competing under one rule set is an impressive logistical feat. I'm not denying that.
Thank you.
But a pure, respectful exchange of global martial arts knowledge. We need to look closely at who is underwriting this cultural exchange. The broadcast takes great care to thank their partners. We've got Met's Insurance Company, Armique, MCAR Group, which they explicitly note is a BMW dealer, and Rolls-Royce Motor Car Services.
High-level sports require high-level funding. That's just modern reality.
Yes, but why do luxury brands target this specific event? Combat sports have historically struggled to attract ultra-premium sponsors because of the inherent violence, right?
Well, they're starting to break through.
They are bringing in Rolls-Royce because they are delivering a highly coveted, affluent male demographic. They are using the ancient, noble aesthetics of martial arts, the respect, the bowing, the ancient theater in Plovdiv, to sanitize the violence, making it palatable for high-end corporate sponsors.
Sanitize it?
Picture the contrast. You have the pristine, elegant logo of a Rolls-Royce projected right next to a fighter limping into his third bout of the night with a swollen, bleeding eye.
I don't think the aesthetic sanitizes the violence. I think the ethos elevates the context of the violence. It gives it meaning.
But the commercial strategy is aggressive. You have to see that. When the broadcast touts that the event is streamed live for free on Triller TV, Senshi.com, YouTube, and Kokushin Karate News, that is not an act of charity to spread culture.
It's access. It's giving people access to the sport.
Offering super fights and free global streaming are classic promotional tactics. They are designed to capture market share in an incredibly competitive combat sports industry.
So they want to be successful.
That international roster you mentioned, bringing in fighters from Japan, Brazil, and China, that is absolutely about expanding broadcast demographics into those massive media markets. It is a highly sophisticated, globalized commercial strategy that utilizes the aesthetics of honor to drive corporate sponsorships and global viewership.
But commercial viability in traditional